Very good evening to all of you. I hope you are able to see me. Just let me know in case voice is audible or not. I'll be able to. In case there is, I hope it's audible. Actually, I am here to discuss with you. I know I'm taking your Sunday today, the tough day, a holiday. We are taking yours. Prima facie, it appears there was nothing in the budget. Maybe yes. Prima facie, it appears there was nothing in the budget, and actually there was nothing. But if you try to decode the budget, you get the feel of it, what we call in the regular parlance as bhavna. That's basically a feel of the budget which comes in, because in spite of not changing, altering, not doing anything or tinkering any of the laws or not disturbing the existing structure of the taxation, the honorable FM said everything. Means they had given the indication to the markets, and they have given indication to the world also where India stands now. Before I move into the budget, let me do a very clear cut disclaimer, which I'll keep repeating, don't worry, which I do in the regular session also in the class when I take. Any discussion I do, because I'll be taking the names of n number of stocks for my educational purpose, for explaining the budget, what sectors we are looking at, how do we go about it, where do we stand, what is the scenario of the 5 years, which sector you should be looking at, which companies could be a possibility. So anything which I discuss here for the purpose of educational purpose only. I will not, it's not an investment advice or a sell advice. For example, some sector which I think could be in the limelight in the coming next 5 years or 4 years or 3 years or in upcoming days, and something which are laggards, which expectation was there but could not fulfill it. So do not assume it to be an investment or the sell advice. So I move into the budget side. This was 2024-25, although it was an interim budget, we call it as interim is simply, it was, the purpose was only to give you a feel of it. In fact, whenever the elections are nearby and the budget comes in, you'll find lot of freebies coming in. It's a politics. And also one more thing, please, do not attach anything to the political side. Whatever I say is only from the perspective of what capital markets and how capital market behaves. That's it. There is nothing which I would be talking about. You might say whether one government we are praising or not, etc. It is not something. Anything which I do the discussion, it's because stability is there in the government. Maybe policies of the government are such which are helping them out. That's it. So generally, when we have kind of an interim budget, when they come in, it's basically freebies, or you can have something very nicely distribution of the gifts to the public, to everywhere. This budget took care of everything. This budget took care of almost everything, and still they have made sure that markets are happy. No freebies were given. Sectors were taken appropriate limelight, and they have given the confidence the we will be back in the July. So it was just, if I say it was just a trailer of the movie, nothing you have seen yet now, but still they have given the indication to the world that we are in the serious business. So that's what the union budget told about. I'll talk to you. In fact, let me framework what I'll be speaking to you in the few slides initially. It will be everything what we have read in the newspapers. Everyone would be knowing. Next would be what are the indication what we get from their body language, from their speech, that would be there. Next, I'll move into is what are the sectors which could be the game changers in the coming years. Although I've been taking this session with the TPF, the Jain Samaj organization for a long time, and almost for the last 3 years I've been talking on different sectors. One time we were talking on the EV, then we were talking on some other sector, and now the sectors are changing. But yes, the momentum still remains with those earlier sectors also. And then I'll move to the some facts or some quotes from the FM interviews what she has given and what gives the indication. So moving into the first side, and at the last, if things work well, if you want to put any questions, I'll open up the YouTube, and I'll try to visualize the questions from your side. So that could be done. That will be at the end of the part. So give me the first chance to speak, and then I'll come back. The highlights were, the major highlight was Affordable housing, what we speak on, the major of the highlight was affordable housing, and some of you would have seen the jump in the shares like Hudco or maybe the NBCC and some other came in, although they were standing at a very high level. I'll come back to the PSUs at a later stage. So first is only a briefing of what has happened in the budget. Sir, but the budget when came actually on Thursday, the reaction was not much. It could be a possibility because it was an expiry. What is expiry in the FNO market? That's a separate topic altogether. Maybe the movement did not come, and maybe everyone would have read on the Thursday, and Friday you could see the movement, and then there was some geopolitical tensions, which is risk, which I'll also discuss when we move forward because equity market is about the risk and return. So that also I'll come back. What market read, or what was a pleasant surprise, you can say, was the second point. That was a capital expenditure increased. Maybe percentage wise it was not very huge, but number wise it's very huge because base is huge. If you go back 5 7 years back, we were almost not even 30 40% of it, and we have moved to the 11 lakh crore capex. And you cannot imagine, if you have any time in your life would have seen the economics background, then as per the economics principle, this capex will lead to multiplier effect of, if not more, at least 4 5 times. That means economy will move into the structure. What is basically what the this government has realized is, it's a spend, you spend, the movement of the money comes, and then the hand rotation come and spending comes in. When this money will revolve around, maybe for the employment purpose, maybe for the production activity, maybe for any kind of expenditure, it gives the confidence to the private sector also. It's time you also come back and start spending. Generally we have seen private sector is taking a time because of some tensions in the Ukraine or Russia Ukraine problem, or Israel Hamas problem, or the problem which we have seen just now. When I'm standing here today, we have seen just there is another tension which has arisen between the US and some country. So there is a problem which is there. So maybe private sector is taking time, but the government is giving an indication, we are here to spend, you come back. We have taken the decision first and you come back. And one was this point. Second point was, this is the utmost important point, which most of you might not even realize. What does it mean? A fiscal deficit, the language of the FM was very clear, bringing down the fiscal deficit below 4.5. When we speak about this language, below, it's not even 4.5, below 4.5. And maybe I think to 4.5 and below 4.5, basically it means is that they will come around this number. If they come around this number, understand the flow of it, the government borrowing will reduce, RBI will get some breathing space. Actually, major of the cost goes is interest cost when the government borrow, because their expenditure is more than the income. So when you have this kind of spending which comes in, the government will be borrowing less, and when they borrow lesser, the interest outflow will be lesser, and even the RBI will get some breathing space. That we have some liquidity in hand. Maybe we can lend it to the private sectors, and when they're lending it to the private sectors, private sector can do the capex. Maybe the interest cycle might go down. Although I don't know whether what will happen, whether US will go for the rate cut in the subsequent quarter months or not, but could be a possibility when we are looking at our economy. Now the FM has given the indication that RBI, the monetary policy when you're setting, keep in mind that we are in a comfortable position. Rest call you have to take, which I'll go and discuss in the later slides which you have. Then railways have been one of the major sectors which they have been spending money on, maybe because ultimately the government has realized, if economy has to grow, it has to be infra, rail, road, and the ports or airports. These have to grow. Otherwise, you cannot have a better economic life, or better the lifestyle of an economy or lifestyle of people cannot increase. So they want to give this comfort by bringing in the reforms in the railway sector. Then was basically a PLI scheme. This has also been a very important, although you might find these numbers to be very on the very smaller side, but these numbers will tell you that the outside world is taking note of it. It's a production linked incentives, which basically is making sure that you have some incentives, you are given some incentives, and you are doing a production activity in a better of manner, and accordingly the lot of sectors are doing very well. When you go back and read in the last few years, this has performed very well. E-buses, I have not taken a much of a numbers here, because e-buses we have already discussed in some of the earlier session. They have already moved, I think, 10 times. There is no use of talking those stocks also. Any stock, I'm saying it again, any discussion on the stock would be a disclaimer. It's not buy or sell advice. I might hold for my educational purpose. I might hold for my investment purpose also. So for you, it's ask your advisor. The 2 years back, I think 2021, if I not wrong, on the same uh, budget session I was talking, that time we were talking about the Electra, JB Moto. These were electrical buses we were talking about. So this has taken a new shape. Now it's time e-vehicles, everyone know. It's slightly comfort has come. Since the comfort has come, now the turn is to power charging stations. So maybe limelight could be on the Tata Power and so on. Could be a possibility. You have to look from the perspective. Forget about the past. Look for the future. That what could be the potential future we have, and what could be the earnings which can go forward. That could be there. A very very important thing, and that shows the intention of the government, that yes, we want to move towards maybe a cleaner, greener India, and maybe reducing your expenses and making sure more money comes in your hand and ultimately you spend, and also harnessed the solar energy. This has been in a huge limelight over a period of a time. So basically, when we talk about the the solarization theme or a solar theme, it works about as there are a lot of solar companies which have been moving a lot over a period of a time, but you should be looking at renewables. Basically, some of the companies which has run up, I'll show you at the end. In fact, if you look at the charts, if you look at the P multiples, if you look at the prices which has happened to last budget to this budget, maybe three, four, 5 times has happened. If you ask me, I don't know because I'm not the expert at this level. At least when I'm talking to you, that these multiples are justified or not, or what kind of valuations we are looking at. They basically are representing a high multiples. Is the companies which did not move for years and they have got the strength of us. SGBN, NHPC, for example, or there could be some other solar companies. So this is another point which is there. One sector which I think seriously has got attention is tourism sector, and this is not a just small sector which has come. And this could be a religious tourism, spiritual tourism, or it could be a possibility we can have something of the sort, maybe conference tourism. For example, companies when they're organizing conferences, or for employees when they create it, there could be a possibility they might move towards the tourism sector. So tourism is one important part which I've taken. At least I know when I speak here and when I stand, we generally used to have those who were rich, even those who were rich, I'm not talking about me, please, nalike. So it's basically, and don't forgive me if I use the word nalike, it's my class term which I use for my students. The senior member is there, I seek forgiveness. It's a general term which I use for them. They're my students. Tourism sector is one thing which has taken a very importance in this budget, and I think this will remain for next few years, not few years, maybe a decade. Could be a game changer. Spiritual could be one, and government knows that without having a better of connectivity by rail, road, or airport something, it cannot grow. Earlier there was a trend, holidays, let's pack, if you have the money, go outside and travel. And it's but obvious also, because moving in India itself became so tough. And in the last couple of years after COVID, I think most of you would have realized that the things are very expensive. It's better off to go outside and come back. Now this government, I think, has started understanding the people have money, and those who have money they can spend, but they want that comfort. So this sector has, it's just an initial stage. It's just a trailer of the movie, I'm saying it. In the startup business we something called a pitch presentation. It's just a kind of a pitch presentation they are giving it to the outside world, that in July what can you expect from us. It could be because this FM, although they would be sure that they might come back in July, but they don't want to take any onus of who would be the next FM in the July, or whosoever comes in. So they have left it to the next FM, that you take the call accordingly. So they have just created a picture of it. This is our vision going forward. Tourism is one of them. Aviation sector they have to develop. Without developing the aviation sector, it connectivity cannot be there. So a lot of things you have, lot of stocks in the aviation side. Then their ancillaries part could be in the limelight. Infra, in fact, has to play a very important role. Aqua, fisheries, I should say very frankly, although you'll not find a lot of newspaper talking about it. But when you go back home, this is a very few listed companies are there and which are in this, and they have spoken about it. Maybe at the end, if time permits, I'll tell you which are the companies which works on that, so you can see the companies and track it accordingly if you want. It's not an advice to buy or sell. Railways, anyhow, it has been focused for a long time. They have given some budget, and it's a huge budget. There are a lot of railway companies, although they have run up very heavily in the last couple of years. So what return? I think new investors, if they're lucky enough to get this kind of a return, but they have to get a habit of getting a lower returns also, or maybe sometime if any crisis happen, they should be ready that their portfolios can see a downfall of maybe 2025. They should be ready for that also, because you cannot keep generating 100 rupees, investment becomes 500 in a single year. This kind of return I start getting, then there is no need to come. For example, I will not have to come for my classes, you will not have to come to study here, or someone who's doing for the job, no one will be doing anything. But the returns have come, it's come, enjoy that return, but make sure you are taking a clear assessment of your risk. So this was prima facie what I was talking to you in the brief, that these 3 pages you would have seen everywhere and almost all the newspapers. I have no doubt on it. That was there. Now, what do I arrive from here? In fact, we could have, there was no need, sir. There was no need of the discussion also. We know what is happening around, and there was nothing, what sectors are moving, what are not moving. Actually, when we look at any economy, when we look at the intention of the government, and when we look at the confidence of the government, actual bull run, when we are talking about the 5 trillion economy, the actual bull run comes in when 90% of the sectors perform. Every sector has to perform. Some will perform earlier, some will perform later, some might have performed much in the anticipation, and some is waiting. That is where the investment decision comes in. So when you're taking an investment decision, you should be knowing that what stage of the circle I'm moving in. And maybe if you think that you have a financial advisor, or maybe the mutual fund industry, or maybe some of the portfolio managers who are managing your portfolios, they can take call for you, then it's very good for you, because they know that if something is moving much in anticipated, people are discounting maybe 2030 earning, maybe 2028 earning, and there is India, we have a huge amount of liquidity which is coming in. So we have there, and maybe I think, if I'm not mistaken, the foreign investors are still waiting for the election results, and they come in. Now, only thing which, one of the major fear which we have, which is in the mind, is generally we see before election market remains slightly worried about what the result outcome would be. This could be a different game altogether, trend altogether. We might see from here when we are standing, this is uh, first week of Feb 2024 and up to the election, if by chance market assumes that everything would be good enough, we might not get the chance back again. So run up could be seen in this period only, and then there could be a possibility we might not get the chance after the election. So there could be a selling, because general quotation or general wordings in the market will say is buy on rumors and sell on. Basically, when you expect something to happen, you buy that out and sell it off when actually things have happened, because once the things happen, everyone knows. But as of now, things are already at a very high valuation. Now I'm moving towards the, first I'll show you the positives only, so that you get comfort of it, what was there. The language of the FM was very confident. When I speak about, a lot of confidence in the budget was there. It was a huge high confidence in the budget what we had. So language spoke about, fiscal deficit numbers spoke about, and the lot of agencies starting talking about India is going to a fiscal consolidation. And I'm saying this is the benchmark. If they actually come at that number, there would be a huge push to the economy. The borrowing rate of the government goes down. The interest rate circle comes down. It's a circle which comes out, and the spending happens nicely. So we could be, for example, in the 1980s, if I go back, maybe if we compare India and China, we might be having at the same stage, but you very quickly. And India has realized that infra is one of the key sectors which is there. Infra, road, rail is key sector, which can lead to a connectivity which can grow India to a different path altogether. So this, the confidence which was in the budget, was in the speech, was in the interviews, and was in the no freebies. That shows the confidence that yes, we'll be back in the July and will deliver you what you expect. Maybe the taxpayers, as of now, maybe they have not got anything. It appears as if they have not got. But the government has been always thanking it's the taxpayers' money only. That's the confidence which is there. Fiscal consolidation and capital spending was the key theme. Fiscal maths looks very, very good. I'm saying it again that without taking additional borrowing. And in fact, if you, those who have been watching budget and those who are aware of the budget, although I'll try to keep it as simple as the assuming that you are hearing the budget analysis for the first time, but those who have been hearing budget, they would assume that government was always trying disinvest some PSUs, get some money from there, and then utilize. This time they were very comfortable, and the target was very low. Happens, it's not. We have the money, and we are safe. And this money, in spite of the fact the events in the global around the world have not been comfort level, whether it was a COVID, whether it was any other event which has happened in the last 2 3 years, still we are at a very very good stage. Reduction in the government borrowings, sir, what does it shows and what does it mean? Bond markets, maybe the equity market might not have behaved very positively, bond market behaved very positively. Borrowing going down, the interest rate circle, it behaved positively. It gives a headroom for the RBI to rate cut. That means the onus is on the RBI now whether to go for the rate cut or not. So accordingly, they'll take a call. Cheaper and easy finance availability for private sector, because if the government is not borrowing, the RBI can easily lend towards the private sector. And in fact, the rates would be much, much cheaper or much easier, which comes out. Infra spending is the core backbone of any country which has to grow. This sector, this budget actually, if I speak about, it included almost every part of it. The every part they touched, whether it was agriculture, maybe not, which was the anticipation, because I'm saying it again, it was interim budget, it was not a full budget. So whether it was agriculture side, whether it was a railway side, whether it was a road side, whether it was a EV side, whether it was a pharma side, etc. So small point, they covered everywhere. So everyone was covered almost in this budget. Actually, if you ask me, it was report card of almost last 9 years they have been here. Last 9 10 years they have been here. It was showing the report card that what we have done, and it the major point was a fiscal deficit. We have to focus on growth. If anyone gets a time when you go back home or when you are at home after this session, just pull up your numbers and see where did we stand in the fiscal deficit number, where was our growth, and what was the capital spending 10 years back and now. You'll realize the difference which has come. In fact, there is no need. I'm saying from the general common sense, we can make out the spending power of everyone has increased. Although inflation remains a problem, but it is not impacting. Maybe the income levels are going up. So you can feel that out. There is something happening. And but since it takes a huge amount of a time to develop this part, we need to give them. And we can see things are moving. And the global world has started taking India very seriously. In fact, I tell you, I have been tracking this market for a long time for my educational purpose. The scenario we are in, if by chance the foreign investors used to move their money out of India, the markets would have crashed. Now look at the confidence. It's our money. The market crashes, there are buyers. The market crashes, there are buyers. If there was a day in which 400, 500 Nifty walks down, then there could be a series of the fall and the money would have flown out and every was there. The bloodbath, the headlines. Now, I'm not I'm not saying that Nifty cannot go down 500, 1000, 2000 points. It can go out. But there are opportunities which has to be grabbed. In spite, when you're looking at the markets, Nifty or Sensex, you have to look at your individual stocks also. Whenever the correction comes, the old players are going, maybe profit booking is coming, maybe the weaker hands are going. It's opportunity for you. What stocks you've been tracking which were not in your radar, you have to make sure that available money is there. But that does not mean that tomorrow when market opens, it opens 400 plus and you start buying. Or when it opens 400 down, you start buying. You have to be very clear that stock which I'm buying is fundamentally fitting the value with the actual fundamentals or not. If you think price is not justifying the fundamentals, no matter whether you love or do not love, the advisability from no one remains is invest. Because actually what has happened in the market is you open up the market today, by morning, evening time you might get the profit. So it becomes so easier. It is not so easy money. It's not if that money was easy, I'm saying it again, everyone will be doing the same thing. It's only that you have to be very careful, which I'll come to the challenges. So when infra, I'm saying you have to look at the theme standing here. What can be delivered in the next 5 10 years? The everyone will be positive on infra, and I'm saying in fact not infra. 90% of the sectors for any kind of economy which is moving towards a 5, 7, 10 trillion economy, every sector has to work. Which sector will work when, that has to be seen, because the ultimately the income levels of everyone would go up, and the kind of money mutual funds are getting, That shows the confidence of the retailers. Actually, if you ask me, there was a trend when you used to buy insurance, when you buy some other FD, etc. Now, the mutual fund investments has become a kind of a routine for most of them. Still, we are at a nascent stage. If that investment keeps increasing over the period of time, the industry has so much money, and there are so many listed companies now, so many opportunities to make sure that investment can happen properly. So you do not have to worry about it. You give your money to proper industry people, those who are managing it, and just sit and look at the growth story of India, assuming everything stays remains what we are visualizing as of now. So it was a report card of almost last 10 years, whether it was reducing a fiscal deficit, focus on the growth when it comes out, continuity of a growth and momentum, and this is also very important part. Any financial person will tell you that earning is one thing, but ultimately you have to take care of your cost of capital also. Because in the balance sheet, if your balance sheet is not proper, you're investing. If let's suppose you're making a balance sheet and you're standing assets here, liabilities here, this ultimately is invested in the assets. If you're not taking care of a liability cost, then basically you're not able to generate a return. The cost of capital basically has to justify the return, and the lower your cost, even if your return is at the same level, the difference, the margin between them would be higher side. So that's also one of them. Also supportive which is coming is results also of the companies have been supporting the kind of a story which we are going in. A very very important part, those who have been looking at the market for the last 1 year, I don't know what has happened. I seriously don't know what has happened. And anyone who was in the PSU for the at least last 1 year also, the kind of money they would have made, I think it's beyond imagination. No one would have imagined. I have written here 2 years, but I'm saying PSUs. I don't know what has happened, or maybe actually the government seriousness has come to it, that you perform or perish. We can bear to you to a extent. If you do not perform, then maybe it's time to get over with it. The changes which has come, maybe because look at any PSU. I'm saying any SDVN, NHPC, PHEL, or maybe Oil India, HPCL, BPCL, anywhere you see, or the railway stocks from list could be unimaginable. I'll show you some of them if you want. I'll show you exactly the kind of returns they have given over the period of a time. It's unimaginable. What changes which prima facie which appears from the result? Because one thing is for sure, small hands buying, the return cannot have this much. There is something which we are not able to understand, and the big ones are able to. The investment is coming aggressively in that. It could be leadership changes, and also there could be a possibility the valuation which they were not commanding. For example, P multiples, price earning multiple, we call it as, if they were trading at a price earning multiple of 2 times, REC for example, PFC for example, 2 to 3 times maybe, or 1.5 times, earning was always there. Suddenly the price earning multiples have expanded. That means they're standing at the same level, but P ratio have increased, and that is the kind of a confidence everyone is getting. And generally, you'll find when the market falls, the very high selling does not come. The selling comes, but you will not find that the selling is coming one side. There are buyers which are standing. Any kind of a companies which comes in, PSU has got a lot of momentum. Some of the companies which did not move for last 18, 15, 10 years, suddenly in the 1 year, everything has come. So there has been, maybe because of a leadership changes, institutional changes, execution, their cultural change, targets are given to them, and they have to accountability is set. So could be the reason that they are performing well. Execution actually was the major problem, I think, and results are showing in some of them. Execution is happening properly. If execution is happening, what is the difference in the private and these companies? The PSUs, for example, if I tell you the kind of a network they have, the kind of a reachability they have, the normal companies might not have. It was only the intention in the execution or the accountability which was lacking. Maybe targets they were given, met or not, it's okay. But now that the execution which is happening is showing on the papers, it comes from the top hierarchy. So we call this a leadership. When your leader is strong enough, automatically things slow down. So I think that is happening. So if you would have been a part of the PSU story, you would have made the kind of money no one can imagine which there. Air India, for example, is a perfect example. They performed, did not perform, they were pumping in money, then the time came, it said, now it's time to say goodbye to you. It's not that company has won, someone has taken over, it's okay. But these are the reasons that PSUs have got that yes, you have to perform. When your topmost leader is performing aggressively and he wants that result, automatically the down has to, and India is in that stage which comes out. Banks, for example. This sector, I think, it's only my analysis. I'm not saying a buy or sell advice, buy advice, please. Banks are still not come to that level which were there maybe the 10 years back, some of them. PSUs, for example, I take. There were always, we used to hear, for example, I was hearing one of the interviews somewhere, they were saying, uh, 5 7 years back, do nothing, you do something, nothing will happen to you. Now story has changed. Do a fraud, you're inside. You do a fraud, you're inside. That means things have become serious now. Not that easily a call will come and you'll get the loan. It's not so. So things have become, risk management in the banking system has increased. So this could be one of the sectors. In fact, I've taken the sector which I want you to aggressively track, please. Maybe I'm saying it again, it's something which appears from this budget, and this, when I see you maybe in the July, I'll show you some of these sectors would be the outperforming sectors in that we're standing here. So it's not necessary it will happen in 2 months, it's not necessary in the 3 months, 4 months, it could be in that budget of, you will find it's like we have we call it as a full jedi comes in, it could be a full jedi which is there, the atom bomb still to come. It's basically a big picture is still pending. It was a small brief which they have given, and they've showed their intention. We are moving into the new sectors. Please, which were the old conventional sectors, they are there. But look at something new. You have to move to a clean energy, green energy, tourism. No one thought about it. These are some sectors which could be a potential revenue generators for you, for the economy as a whole. Tourism, power, solar, banking. Without banking, nothing can happen. Banking is the backbone. So it's a backbone, and you would have seen, if someone would have seen the day the budget came, the day, actually there are certain reasons why the banking stock increased also, because when the fiscal deficit number came down, so there would be redating of the bonds, there would be valuation changes in the balance sheet of some of the banking companies. So that will increase their numbers, which will reflect in the March, maybe could be a possibility. So we are not talking about, because that requires a huge amount of maths. So banking is one of these sectors which anyhow is the backbone of the economy. If that is, if your economy is doing well, the banking will do well, because they lend, they will get money, they lend, they get their money. The problem happens is when the rotation stops. If the rotation is not happening, the money gets stuck, it gets stuck. So this was another. These are some of the sectors which you have to see. Power has been doing very good. Solar is something which they are aggressively now. I think next time onwards for few budgets, I think this will remain one of the topmost priority. Maybe tourism and solar. Solar could be, you can have a company. Web Solar could be a Borosil, Renewables, etc. So these kind, some kind of a companies you can keep track of. But some has already moved unexpectedly in the anticipation. So you have to be careful about that. No sector was ignored. That was the key theme. Now comes the challenges. This, because when the reward is there, when you're investing 100 rupees and getting 500 rupees, 100 rupees, FD gives you what kind of a return? I invest in FD, it gives me a 7, 7.5, maybe your senior citizen 8.2 in a year. And the moment you invest morning, evening, by the time you earn 10 percentage, 1 year return and 1 day return. So that gives this. When you're investing in equity, if you're expecting such a kind of a return, then I'm assuming the risk has to come inherent. Higher the risk, higher the return. That has to be there. That does not mean that you stop, because I was reading one of the articles that people have started removing their money from the FDs to the market. That's a dangerous tool, I'm telling you. That's a dangerous tool. Anyhow, that's the specific call which has to be taken. You have to have safety of your money. Whatever you can think, I have the capacity to lose, that has to be in the equity market, or it has to be systematic. It cannot be a one-way investment, which happens in a single day. Challenges remain because you never know. For example, some of the startups which came for the IPOs, and there is a problem arising. I'm not taking the name of the companies as of now. And if let's suppose you would have invested in that, assuming, oh, this is the future, and only one or two couple of companies you invest, and suddenly they burst out, your whole money is gone. It has to be a basket. For example, when I speak about these numbers, it's not for the sake of stocking. I'm talking about these. It's basically different sectors. If in a sector also I'll pick up maybe five companies or 4 5 companies, what the worst will happen if let's suppose I have a portfolio of 15 to 20 companies, it's either my luck is ultra bad, everything goes for a worst out, then you cannot help it out. Or if one is performing, one is not, I could be an investor for, you have to take a vision of maybe 5 to 10 years. That vision has to be there, at least 10 years vision you have to take, that these sectors will perform, what will come. And once you invest, you only have to keep is just checking whether I am invested in the right type of company or not. That's it. Investment decision one done. And when you think there is a correction coming in, management is strong enough, it's only maybe for the, just because of some other tensions, the uh, decline in the prices have come and I'm exiting, it's not so. Take that call, have that confidence. You selected a company, management was neat and clean, numbers were neat, sector has to perform, it's only timing is bad. So you have to be patient enough. So when you invest in the across the sectors, across the companies, that means you have basically hedged your portfolio. If even if one of the sectors, one of the company goes a bankrupt also, you still be in a position, because it can never happen. You invest in 10 companies and all 10 companies will give you money, whether it is for venture capitalists or startups. If you go and ask them, if they invest in 10 companies, even if the 4 5 companies perform for them, they make ample amount of money. They make so much amount of money, they're taking a risk, but they're taking higher risk, same you are doing it. But you have to also look at what kind of valuation I'm standing and taking a risk. It's not that something which is moving and kept on moving and you fear about it, oh I lost, fear of missing out, FOMO. That is not should be the trend. Missed out one. It's what you have a more than 5,000 companies now, approximately 4 5,000 listed companies. One left, go to another. Keep watching, keep on track. Look at the management, look at the revenue, look at the earning cycle, look at the cash flows, and you will get it out. The more you spend time on reading, more you'll get. So when we say about the challenges, challenges will come because we are growing. It's okay. Everything is good around. It's okay. We might have a stable government. We expecting it's okay, but anything can happen. So you have to be very careful about this. One, there was nothing in the budget which weakens the market. Could be there. We say no change, no touching of any point is good for the budget. That's very good. But challenge will be there from coming back to here and here. This some of the experts say. Although I am confident, I don't know why I feel that they would have done their mathematics well, because it was not so easy for them to set this kind of a target that will come to 4.5. When they're talking about it, there would be certainly some maths they would have done at such a level. Valuations are very very high. You need to be careful. You need to be very very careful. I'm saying it again. Valuation standing high. But I was speaking to someone in the early in the morning. He was saying, what is valuation? Valuation is just a number. If I'm standing today, it might appear there's something is trading at a 10p multiple, 20p multiple, but who knows, the income will grow tenfold after this. Then this multiple will look cheap. That's also fine. But again, I'm saying, if something you do not understand, if you think the sector I do not understand, or something which has moved beyond my numbers, this was my expectation, then maybe stay out. It's better off earn less rather than losing your principal. So fundamental principle remain for the life, please. Try your principle stays intact, whether you earn less or you earn more or you do not earn. Because if your principle is intact, your confidence would be intact. I did not take a wrong decision. If you take a wrong decision sometime, either you are confident that it will rebound back, or make sure that you have the confidence of exiting also. That confidence should be there. So valuations are high for some of them. There has to be, because everyone is talking about it, and I am saying it again. I don't know why I feel everyone thinks that between this date and budget, the election result, there could be some events. International I'm not talking about, they will impact the market anyhow. Domestic I'm talking about, there would be some events which might lead to a slowdown in the market, decline in the market. But I would not be surprised by looking at the way we are in a serious momentum. Actually, it's a very serious momentum we are in. The kind of momentum we have, I was talking to again one of my friends early in the morning. There could be a possibility between this date and the election result, the market again outperforms. No one knows. The market is supreme. It has to go any direction, it will go. It is beyond our control. I'm saying it again, it's beyond our control which happens. And so, but you have to be very careful. It's your hard earned money. In the classes also I generally tell, spend money in yourself, go to Goa and enjoy, and then come back, and whatever is left over, then you invest. Budget to budget, some PSU stocks have double, tripled, which I spoke to you earlier. Something has happened in the PSU sector. That's basically because of the execution change. So that's basically doubling, tripling, and four times return, which we have not seen in the so many years, have come back. Maybe it's an anticipation. Maybe it's an over anticipation that is reflecting in that. opportunities are there, but limited as compared to the last year, I should say, or a couple of years, because banking, for example, I'm saying banking have just started moving in. So you have to keep a track of the banking if you want, because the FM also speak about, honorable FM also spoke about that, the banking sector, because when you are lending someone, when you're financing someone, banking sector is too good. That financial sector, in fact, full financial sector, I should say, you should be keeping a track of it. This is something which is hanging around, and every day some or the other news. Right? This has not stopped. Ukraine, Russia, Israel, Hamas issue, which is there, Red Sea issue, which is leading to increased cost for the exporters, for example. That's a challenge which is still there. And when I'm standing here, this new uncertainty developed in the last 2 days. The US, Iraq, and Syria. I think that's last couple of days which have arisen. Election outcome will play a very important role. It will play a very important role, please. Although I'm assuming elections will be in the favor, but still you have to be mindful of it. Momentum is already discounted in the elections. That means, actually, what is the market? Market is nothing but it is discounting what will happen in the future. So it's discounting all the cash flows, discounting. And if by chance the, as per me, or as per the analysis, it appears it is already discounting that yes, stable government will come, the same government will come, and they will come back again in July. The, if they are discounted this, then you might not find any major change post the elections, but there could be some sectors which can outperform, the sectors which have got the importance in the recent time. That's what basically it comes out. Now, few things which I think, the housing, for example, is one of the important sectors which has got advantage, because when you say the affordable housing scheme, it could be steel, cement, everything would be available. Then you have Jal Yojana, for example, or solar, for example, stocks like STB and NHPC, for example, Borosil renewal, for example, or Web Solar, for example. You have to keep track of these kind of stocks which would be there. Housing finance companies would be limelight because of the housing sector again. They'll remain in limelight. I will show you some important quotes which I was reading in the earlier in the day. In fact, this is something which was not important from maybe the budget session, but I thought I'll discuss with you next 1 year. Where do you stand, and what are the important triggers which will be there in the market? You're standing, interim budget has come. In fact, budget is the most important day. Budget is the most important day for the markets. But this was anyhow interim, still something happened. After this, what will happen? Election. Then will come election result. Then will come budget, July. Then will come festive seasons. Then will come again budget. So the market throughout the year will have something or the other. And this government has also taken some initiative. For example, I was expecting maybe the telecom sector will do something. Maybe because everyone would have an expectation. They have not done it. It's okay, because they can come up any day and do this. So budget has relevance. They can come at any point of a time, maybe after 2 3 months post the results, election results, and come back. And some sector they feel this requires our help, this requires our hand holding. They'll come and give it to it. So there could be those sectors also, because some of the sectors can be in limelight because of that. And also, this government is trying to push on the manufacturing. That's keep in mind. So check out for some of the local manufacturing, maybe in the telecom side, maybe in the pharma. Pharma, in fact, one of the sectors which I think has been laggard for a long time, just for educational purpose. Keep a track on it. The pharma sector. This was the interview questions. I think with the Times of India, they would have asked. I've taken from Times of India. What they asked, and look at the reply with the confidence she gives. The budget creates a space for the private sectors to start the investment cycle. Does it create space for lower interest rate? How confident you are that private sector will finally begin to invest? Now, she was asked this question: when will the private sector one? Generally, it happens is if the whatever government spend, private sector will spend generally 3 4 times of it. That's the general notion. Now, look at the reply. Interest rate circle. She's saying it's entirely the assessment of the monetary policy committee. They cannot say directly, but indirectly, the RBI should get the comfort. Now, actually, they have to see some other tensions also. The worldwide recession problem is still existing, which is not gone, and these kind of problems which keeps appearing every day and out. So even The central banks have to be very alert. They cannot do it. So she has left it to the RBI to take a call on that. On disinvestment and privatization, a very, very important, very, very important part. She was asked that disinvestment was one of the major parts of almost every budget. This time it has not taken any limelight, and they're very confident whether we do or do not do, will make sure that company performs. The more they ask, there seems to be change in the strategy that now you are focused more on creating value for PSU. But the reply comes out. That's not a change of strategy. It's a duty to do it and we'll do it. We can't allow our companies to languish because we have not privatized them. In the meanwhile, loss of value is not going to help them or help us. And that's exactly, look at the intention of the government. I'm saying look at the intention. It's not PSUs are just moving for the sake of it. The leadership, because leader do not have to tell that ordinary work you do this way, you do this way. It's just a vision they are giving. This is which we are standing. For example, defense. I have a limitation of time also. I cannot speak out. Like the check at the defense sector in the last. And I'm saying the target when we say Atmanirbhar Bharat, when we talk about, there could be a possibility. I'm saying we would be self-consuming and there could be a lot of selling also happening, which we are already doing in fact. So the companies which have moved, maybe your HAL, maybe your BEL or Bharat Dynamics and so on, these are n number of companies. You could see the run momentum in them. That is not just for the sake of it is happening. That's the confidence that yes, we can do it, but it will take time because it's been the the political situations in India, and that's remains. Then there are certain segment. Look at this. This is one of the most important generally, especially for the new generation to companies, and also old generation, those who have a conventional thinking. Oh, this happens, this happens, this happens, this happens. Nothing happens now. Every day is a new day. You wake up, new technology, new thing, new company, something new. You have to think beyond it. And there could be a possibility I'm standing today in 2 years, technology will become outdated. So, what this budget actually showed was there are certain segments such as cement where private investments have begun to flow, but others have lagged. There is long waiting list of cars, partly because capacity issues. What is feedback from the industry on investment? Now look at the answer which she gives. So basically, there are some conventional sectors which are waiting for something, but maybe not are moving. And look at the way she said. You are looking at what are the old traditional sectors. It's not that they are saying there are no of use, because I'll show you in the first slide. I would have shown, I think, in one of the PLI schemes, they have given big boost for the auto sector. It's not that they are not spending on it, but what she wanted to say was, or this budget wanted to say was, investment is happening in new sunrise domain. This is something new. Look at the interest which industry has shown in green ammonia, batteries, green hydrogen, bringing AI. So you can look at the way solar is growing. Again, I'm saying you have to know new upcoming sectors, the thought process, vision, maybe immediate 1 2 years, 5 years, 15 years, 20 years. At least those are young ones, not like the old ones like us. Like you have the young ones, you have to think about it 20 years, 25 years, what kind of India you would be in. So this is taking a bit, or the way ancillary activities in space sector is happening. There is invested in investment in material research. People are looking at different countries to see where they should go and tap a particular material. So it's not as if private sector is not coming on the board. We are refusing to see those areas where they are coming on board. We are looking at we are only looking at cement and steel. That means he's saying the new private investment which is coming, it is coming, but we are not able to. That is what investment is actually. You have to visualize what will be the new theme in the 5 10 years. But what has happened is, I'm saying it again, we get up in the morning, today moved up, not moved up, portfolio went up, went down. So we should not be in a position where we're hampering a normal activity of a work. Investment is a tool. Read ample, read standing today, how much span you have. I have, let's suppose, 20, 30, 40 years to live, which I think, let's suppose, then I should be thinking next 10 to 20 years. I only have 10 years remaining life. Spend on yourself. That's it. No investment. Or 5 years, 10 years, you think we have done ample work and we have hard earned money. Keep spending, because next generation anyhow is smart enough. they'll earn, they will spend on them, and things will keep changing. You would have seen the moment the telecom sector revolution which has come, you cannot imagine the kind of online payments we are doing. You cannot imagine where India stands now. So that's actually a vision of the government. They can only give the vision is, rest public follows, and since we have a huge young generation, so the onus is on them to take forward. So investment is happening, new sectors are upcoming. So these are something, a new trend which comes. So this was a small budget discussion. In fact, this is most important slide. Any discussion on specific stock sectors done during the session was for educational purpose. It should not be taken as investment advice or sell advice. Stock market investment is subject to market risk. Please consult your financial advisor before making this. This is a disclaimer. Anyhow, equity market remains with the risk. Everyone knows, but that does not mean that we do not invest. Uh, Something which comes from my side is that investment is a tool. It should not be that if I have 100 rupees, I'll go tomorrow and spend 100 rupees. Spend it judicially. Sit always on the cash. You should have some cash with you. So if the crisis comes, if some problem comes, maybe at a personal level, or maybe some opportunity comes, I should be able to utilize. Managing of a finances is very, very important. But yes, when you're investing, you should keep looking at my investments are growing over the period of time or not. First, you should be able to take care of your. So in fact, I had lot many things to do, but I've taken more of your time. In fact, I'll not go forward beyond this. If anything you want to know, let me know. I'll be here. So let me open up, if I can open up the YouTube and watch out. If anyone you want to ask any questions across around, that would be there. Anything you want to know, or the Paytm RBI issue will not discuss it here because that's not something to budget. Someone is in front of me, they're asking about it. Paytm RBI, I'll not speak about it because that's not with the budget. That's about company performance, etc. We can discuss in the class. So I think I'll take your leave here. Yes, I'll take your leave here. Thank you for joining us. No, IT slabs, I think they have not changed. Mohit is asking some IT slabs, nothing has changed. Only thing they have given some benefits to the old pending cases which were uh, lying for a long time. IT, I'm saying it again. Na? They said it's the FM was very clear. The indication is very clear that let us come back in July and you'll get everything what you expect. Even we expected that slab rates would change, etc. But I think nothing has happened. But that could happen. So since government is sitting on the good amount of money, maybe they want to take some other calls. So July when they come in, we'll have that. Uh, Thank you and take care. Bye bye. Thank you. Take care and bye bye.